shit. I did it. It's working. It's not crashing. If we're lucky, we might be able to get past this. You might be able to get past the menus. So, yeah, I'm gonna start doing the Apollo Justice Trilogy. And if this works out, then that means I'll have 3 games to juggle. Greatest Attorney, Undertale Yellow, and Apollo Justice. But, hey, that's fine by me. Here we go. So excited. I've been waiting for this game for months. Turnabout Trump? Showdown time. You lose. Oh! He's got a bottle. He's got a bottle. Always blunt force trauma. That's the cause of death. Ooh! I seem to be in a bit of trouble. Something like that. Dead. Someone hit him. Hard. Me? Please. The cop should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that. April 20th. Hey, 420! Defendant lobby number 30. Panicked. Palms sweaty. I can admit I'm nervous. Ah, good morning. Good morning, sir. You look tense, Justice. Wound up tight. Wound up, sir? No, I'm loose. I'm fine. That screeching noise, is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected. Okay, your first trial and it's a homicide. I guess justice doesn't start small, eh? I'm fine. I got up at 5 a.m. to do my Chords of Steel voice workout. I'm fine. Ah, that explains it. I did detect a certain rasp and quality to your screech. I overdid it again. As you know, your client today is a good friend of mine. I wouldn't want to let him down, if you get my drift. Drift gotten, sir. I'm all over that drift. As it happens, I dined with him the night of the murder. We can't let this case fall through. Yes, I'm fine, sir. One more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much. People might take you the wrong way. I'll be preparing our case. You might want to introduce yourself to the client. My name is Apollo Justice. If it isn't clear already, I'm a new attorney, and today is my first trial. Not that a word or anything. The defendant has been accused of murder. My boss wants to help him out, of course, and so do I. I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him. No way. Oh! Whoa! Good, morning? Morning. It's all up to you today. First trial nervous, meeting him, cardiac arrest. Who's this bozo? I think I'm supposed to say something. Help? So you're... Fine! I'm fine! Mr. Fine, is it? I did remember you having an odd name. Well, we're off to a great start. Are you sure you're okay? I mean, with me? Mr. Gavin is a top-notch defense attorney, and he's your friend, so why? You'll see. Huh? You can do it. Be confident. I'm really sorry this happened to you. I mean, it's time. Shall we? Yes, sir. Who dat? Okay, I need to focus. First trial, here comes justice. That's good. We all know who it is. You know who that guy is. You know him. Is that... Damn.
This court is now in session.
And the prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is, fine. I mean, ready, Your Honor. Fine, going blank. Don't panic. It's too late.
Your name was Mr. Justice, and this is your first trial.
Yes, Your Honor. But I'm fine, really.
Are you quite sure? Your voice sounds a bit strained. Mr. Gavin?
Yes, Your Honor.
I was under the impression that you would be heading up this case.
That was my intention, yes. However, a defense attorney must always see to his client's wishes, and my client specifically requested Mr. Justice.
Well, of course he wants justice. But to entrust his case to this greenhorn, why? I don't exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin.
Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience, fine, but does he have cords of steel?
Then let's begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom.
Of course, Siska.
This is truly an unfortunate turn of events. I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances. Long time no see, Mr. Wright.
So that makes it, what, 3 times that Phoenix has been put on trial? Not counting the class trial when he was a baby. But yeah, first, when he was, like, in college, his girlfriend framed him for murder. Then, he was framed for the murder of his boss. Then, now he's framed for murder again. People are like, oh, Maya's been framed, keeps getting framed for murder. Phoenix got framed for murder 3 times. And there was also the time there was the imposter Phoenix. Let's put the past behind us, shall we? These days, I'm merely Phoenix Wright, piano player. What? How could this have happened?
I won't speak of it further, then. If the prosecution would be so kind as to explain the charges. Mr. Payne?
To think, I saw you enter this room with fresh attorney, and now I'll see you leave in chains. Shut the Winston Payne. Subtle as ever, I see. The crime occurred at the Borscht Bowl Club, a Russian restaurant. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, took the victim, a customer, and hit him, wham, on the head, smack, killed him cold.
A customer at the restaurant, you say? And the defendant, you say he was...
The pianist for the club, it seems.
Phoenix Wright, a pianist?
This is the weapon that took the victim's life, a bottle of grape juice. Grape juice is apparently our defendant's drink of choice. Just say it's wine, dude. Like, you're already doing murder. You got perverts in this game. Why can't you do alcohol?
The court accepts the deadly bottle as evidence.
I know that fucking Marshall guy, Jake Marshall, he definitely had booze in that flask. Deadly bottle. Ah, my attorney badge. Get ready to present that to everyone you see. Something to note, Justice. All evidence is filed in the court record. Make a practice of checking it frequently. The court record. Right. I've heard of that. Use E to look at the evidence so far. I'm confident in your ability to handle this. Right, just use E. Sounds like it's time for some hands-on action. Yeah! Woohoo! There's a number inscribed on the back of the badge. There are many numbers like it, but this one is mine. Proof that I'm an attorney. To tell the truth, I get a happy feeling just looking at it. Yeah. The famous attorney badge. What else we got? Grape juice. Vintage. Grape juice. How long has it been since I drank grape juice? Apparently it's Mr. Wright's favorite drink. Wonder how well it goes with borscht. No clues here. No clues here. So, man, nothing. Oh! The cap. Why is the cap is not on the bottle, so why?
So, the victim was a customer at this restaurant. But just who was this, Shady Smith fellow?
We believe he was a traveler, Your Honor.
A traveler?
According to his passport, he had been out of the country for a number of years. He had only returned to this country recently, though his place of residence is unclear.
And he had some sort of connection with the defendant.
That, too, is unclear at present, Your Honor. We believe they first met at the Borscht Bowl Club on the night of the crime.
If they had only just met, then why murder? Perhaps the victim slighted the defendant's piano playing.
It doesn't appear to have been the case. No, the motive had nothing to do with the defendant's lack of playing skill. At least not piano playing. I'll let this photo explain what I mean. As we can see, a game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime.
Wait a second. Isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in and of itself.
That's true. This game takes place in Japan. Remember that. And gambling is illegal there. But what about pachinko? Well, pachinko isn't technically gambling, because when you win the balls, you don't trade them in for... You win balls in pachinko, right? But you don't trade in the balls for money. You trade them in for, like, random shit. You know, plastic toys, figures, doodads, knickknacks, and at every pachinko parlor, there's a pawn shop right next to it. And you can go to that pawn shop and trade in the pachinko prizes for hard cash. And then the pawn shop sells those pachinko prizes back to the pachinko parlor. It's a symbiotic relationship. It appears our defendant has fallen to become the basest sort of criminal. It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. I know this guy probably has like some kind of European accent, but I'm saving my accent power for other characters. Wink. Yet it was only that, a game, in the purest sense. A competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yeah, they weren't playing for keeps. Yes, a taste of wits, a silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome. But, like, in poker, isn't, like, the only way to continue playing to, raise the bets, like, if you want to call, or... I don't know the exact terms, because I've never done poker. Except for, like, the version in the Super Mario 64 DS, picture poker. You play against Luigi. I've never... But I think the rules are... If you want to, like, play another round after you've both shown your card. If you want to play another round, you will have to bet something else, and then your opponent bets something. You know, it's like double or nothing. I mean, they could have just been using jelly beans or something.
Come again?
And the cards on the table had blue backs, Your Honor. I believe the defense was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present and impress women. Joke's on you. Everyone in this courtroom is gay.
That will be our first order of business here, then. To find out more about this fatal game of cards. Very well, defendant. You will testify to the court about the poker competition held the night of the crime.
My pleasure. This is it. My first trial. Here goes nothing. Again. Why are we making the... I am a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That's all it is, a game, and our customers are happy.
A pianist who can't play piano?
I'm better than an defense attorney who can't defend. Boy, how many cases have you lost? I'm about to blow that man's hair off again.
Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination.
Right, Your Honor. My first cross-examination. Don't blow it. Are you alright? You're sweating bullets. Bullets? Where? It's a figure of speech, Justice. Your voice sounds strained and raspy, too. My brain feels strained and raspy, sir. You've watched me perform cross-examinations many times, though you've never done one yourself, have you? Care for a refresher? What to do? Should I ask Mr. Gavin for a refresher course in cross-examination? I don't need it. No need for help here, sir. I think I've got this one covered. You think you'd better do more than think. You know it, or you do not. I'm fine. The cords of steel are ready for battle. My weapons, press and present. Find any inconsistencies, any lies in the testimony, and reveal them to the court. But this is our defendant. Like, wouldn't it be bad if we caught them in a lie? Because that would just, fuck it. That is cross-examination. Learn it, know it, do it. Inconsistencies, lies, Phoenix Wright? As if Phoenix Wright would never lie, and it's up to me to prove it.
The defense may begin the cross-examination.
Cross-examination. Yeah, the best part, the fucking eyes staring at each other. I'm a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. Then why are you a pianist? You can hardly play. Oh, I play sometimes, when customers demand it. Make me dance like a monkey. So I play them one song. That's usually all they want. Is it chopsticks? What was that supposed to be? Was that supposed to be a boast just now? The title of pianist is a mask, or a spectacle face I wear for the world at large.
Why are you really at the Borscht Bowl Club?
My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. They pay you just to play poker? That would seem to be the case. I'm a professional, after all. Bah! Do I detect pride in that statement? It's just hard for an honest, hard-working member of society like me to imagine. Yes, your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston. What? Fuck you. I've played poker for 7 years in that little room. And I've never lost once. What? You see why the customers come now. Defeat the undefeated poker champion. It's quite a draw. That is, I'm quite a draw. Wait, you've never lost once? Not even one time? As I said, I'm a professional. He's played poker for 7 years and not lost once. Is that even possible? The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions. The room in the crime scene photo is an attraction? It has quite a history, actually. The Borscht Bowl Club used to be a gathering spot for black market types back in the day. The black market? Not an actual market, I checked. All in the past. Things like the black market are only on the silver screen nowadays. Like, what if the black market was an actual marketplace? They sold guns and drugs. And organs. Suffice it to say that there were a lot of deals being made under the table. Right there in that room.
A smoky room. Gambling hits. You know, just looking at this picture makes me feel bad.
The bosses gathered around the table, cutting deals, safe from the eyes of the law. Meanwhile, a goon keeps watching the small window. Hell yeah, goons. I can practically picture it now. That window does look like it would be good for keeping a lookout, but little else. The room had a few other tricks to it, though it was common knowledge to our regulars. At any rate, they come to play poker in a room steeped in history. Despite the dark past, it was all just good, clean fun. The rules are simple. Play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. Why 2 decks? Don't you usually use 1 deck? Even I know 2 decks of cards. A simple measure to prevent cheating. If you alternate 2 decks, no one can slip in cards. You could just use a new deck every time.
There's something else I noticed.
Or mark the cards, so that way you'll know that the cards belong to the deck. Oh, fuck it.
In addition to the cards on the table, there are some lines scattered on the floor.
Precisely. Cards on the table, cards upon the floor. Each one forming a complete deck. A crime scene painted blue by a sad sweep of cards. It's poetic, really. Incidentally, we used 2 types of cards at the club. One deck of cards was red, the other blue.
As I recall, in poker, you make 5-card hands. I can see how it would be easy to cheat.
Yes, a game of hands. Huh? Oh?
This competition you're talking about. I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently.
That's right. It was a simple game, after all.
No, are you sure?
Huh?
People are not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice.
Clearly you've never seen football.
Defendant, you were in the room the very moment that the crime occurred. Yet you claim no connection to the crime.
Now that's strange.
What's strange?
I was testifying about the competition that night. Asking me about the crime at this point is against the rules, Your Honor. Of course, I expected to hear a cry of objection from the defense. Ah! I completely let that one slip by. Don't despair yet, Justice. Sir? Right. There's something I'd like made clear. Namely, your connection to the case at hand. And I'd like to hear from you. Sure, why not?
Very well. The defendant will amend his testimony.
Just one little press, and I've got myself a whole new testimony. I plead silence regarding the murder, but I will say I never touched the murder weapon. Silence! The defendant has the right to refuse to testify. I haven't forgotten everything about the law. But why? That clearly puts you at a disadvantage. Yeah, and it's your job to turn that around in our favor, yes? Great. Like I didn't have enough to do already. Why is the... Oh my god. Didn't you detect anything odd about the testimony? Huh? Wait. Something he said did ring a little... Something he said did ring a little strangely. Just one thing. Now, what was it? When you figure it out, I'd suggest presenting evidence. Evidence that contradicts the testimony. A contradiction in Mr. Wright's testimony? But why? I'd better check the court record. I can't imagine Mr. Wright lying in a testimony. Let's look at that bottle one more time. Huh. Oh! It bears his prints. Blah, 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 blah. How do I skip? How do I... Right. How do I... I can't fast forward the text. Okay, you can fast forward this test. Present the bottle. It has his... No, wait. Presents. For having presented evidence during your first cross-examination. So you say you didn't touch the murder weapon. This grape juice bottle? Right? So I said.
Is something the matter, Mr. Justice?
Too bad our new defense attorney never learned how to play dumb.
What's this, Mr. Ping?
I examined the bottle in question, you see, and it was covered with the defendant's fingerprints. Then why didn't you object, you fuck? Making me do your job for you? Objection! No need to shout, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine. Excess yelling can damage the judge's ears and our case.
But what about my cords of steel?
Anyway, what's so strange about fingerprints on a bottle in a restaurant?
Well, that's true. The prints alone don't
Oh, sure, that's not yellow. Well, they wouldn't prove a thing if they were normal fingerprints. Oh? The fingerprints on the murder weapon were upside down.
Oh, upside down? What is that?
How do you... It means he was holding the bottle inverted, and there can be only one reason for that. I have so many questions.
How do you determine it?
To brain someone with the bottle. What is that face, Apollo? Mr. Gavin, I think things just took a turn for the worse. Oh. I see no problem, Justice. Huh? The only thing that matters is the truth. There's a good reason for everything. You'll see.
Defendant, can you explain your fingerprints on this bottle to the court?
I stand by my plea of silence regarding the murder. For now.
Not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case.
I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be some reason. Your Honor, you seem to have forgotten something.
And what might that be, Mr. Gavin?
On the night of the crime, who was it who reported the murder to the police?
Reported?
Well, that was the defendant, Mr. Wright. But still, that...
Really?
Yes, well, according to the case file, the murder was reported from near the scene by a call from the defendant's cell phone.
Near the scene?
Let's take a look at the diagram of the murder scene, shall we?
I'm just saying, maybe more crimes would be reported if people were assured that they wouldn't become the prime suspect just because they reported the crime.
The victim was murdered in a small room in a basement 2 floors down from ground level. Of course, cell phones can't get reception so far down. The defendant used the stairs in this hallway to go above ground. The call came from the first floor of the restaurant.
I see. And this is the phone that made the call.
Right, cell phone. The defendant could have just fled the scene of the crime if he could so choose. Yet, he fulfilled his duty as a citizen and reported it to the authorities. And you claim he is being uncooperative?
Self-report. Phoenix is still sus.
Nice save, Mr. Gavin. I better not waste this. I think the prosecution has toyed with our client enough for the time being.
Toyed? I assure you, no one is more serious about...
What was it you said? The defendant was in the room the very moment that the crime occurred? How can you possibly know this?
That's a good question. How indeed?
The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution has a decisive witness.
You're as good as they say you are.
So someone else was in the room the night of the crime. That must mean they witnessed the crime. Everything up till now has been a warm-up, Justice. Are you ready?
Very well. The prosecution may call its first witness to the stand.
Okay, and this first one.
The witness will state her name and profession.
Hold on just a moment. Where's the witness?
I surmise that she has been frightened by the defense's demonic-looking horns.
Ugh, racist.
So use a little hair gel. Relax me. Oh.
Have no fear. If any thorn is brought in your direction, this court will cut them off.
Not my head.
You are sure?
I swear it's on my gavel. Please, come out.
Okay, I'm gay. Isn't violence against hair a crime, Your Honor? Yeah, it's barbicide. Well, if you're sure it's okay.
Now, the prosecution...
Wait a minute.
The prosecution can't explain the witness's, paraphernalia.
Yes. She is a professional, Your Honor. These are merely the tools of her trade.
And that would be?
My name is Olga Orley. Olga Orley. Olga Orley? I don't fucking know what that's a pun on. I'm employed as waitress in Bjork's Bowl Club restaurant.
Then why the camera?
Of course, it is my pride to serve borscht, that is name in restaurant. But I also perform, how it is said, other service.
I take it one of those other services is taking the customer's pictures.
Like, for example, this one.
That's the defendant?
Indeed, on the night of the murder.
Man in white hat is one who has gone kaput.
Indeed, that is the victim.
Man, I could go for some pierogies or some baklava.
Order, order. This is quite a piece of evidence to casually drop into our laps.
It is the same way I drop cold bowls of borscht on laps of customers, casually.
Then the court will casually accept this new evidence.
Olga's photo added to the court record.
Now, witness, where were you at the time of the murder?
I was in room. The hideout, we called it. Excuse me? The hideout? It is room where famous gangster bad guy was arrested. Is room where murder took place.
What?
Your look of utter surprise. It is lovely. I will post my courtroom door later for you. The photos will be numbered and you will write which ones you want a copy of. So there were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga Orley, our witness. And if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, that means, hey, now, let's not jump to conclusions.
You will testify to the court about that night's events.
Witness testimony. That night, customer asked me to deal cards for game. It was cold. Both players played with hats on. The victim, he plays whole time with his hand on locket at his neck. Then last hand is done. But something terrible has happened. That man flew at victim and is strangling him to death. What? But the cause of
Incidentally, who won the game?
Isn't it obvious? The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith. That's ridiculous. Because Mr. Wright can't lose. Justice, maybe you can come up with a more legitimate objection. But he hadn't lost in 7 years. Take it from me, kid. It happens. I didn't lose a case my first 7 years as a prosecutor either. Bullshit. Incidentally, I have some evidence here. These are the poker chips as they lay on the very moment of the crime. Let's see, we got a, the hand and chips on this side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. Let's see, we got, 2 diamonds. That's it. Those on the far side belong to the victim, Mr. Smith. Let's see, we got, 3 kings. And, 2 aces. That's a full house, baby.
Chips, you say?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army, and the chips are the spoils.
I know that. After all, in my youth, I was known as the pokerhead of courtroom number 3.
I think he means poker face.
He used to call me the Poker King back in college. Looking at this picture, it does seem that most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table.
And he's got a full house. Phoenix got, what, 2 of a kind? Oh, no, wait, 3 of a kind. No, they both, wait a minute. No, wait. They both have a full house. But,
Very well, the defense may cross-examine the witness.
Okay. That'll be important later. That night, customer asked me to deal cards for game. Code, both players, played with hats on. Victim. Seriously, why can't I... Flew at hand and is strangling him to death. But the autopsy report says he was caused by a fuck. Blow to the forehead. Oh, really? Strangled, you say? That's odd. Duh, normal customers only choke on bushed. No, I mean this report shows that the victim died of a blow to a head. Miss Orley, really now? Did you witness the crime? Damn. Impressive. Okay.
Looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything.
Yeah, there's the fact that he was hit, Your Honor. Here's a photo we took of the victim with his hat off during our investigation.
Well, that's quite shocking, isn't it? His head certainly was hit.
This head certainly was hit. So no head. Crime photo 2 was added to the court record. But I've seen it happen. The defendant, he lunged at victim, his neck. Oh, really, Miss Orley? I think I've caught you in your own lie this time. Justice, I admire your enthusiasm, but perhaps you should think this through once more. What do you mean? I found a contradiction. There's one thing in her testimony that troubles me.
Very well, it seems we should continue the cross-examination.
There's such a thing as thinking too much. This horse is dead. Let's stop beating it. There's such a thing as thinking aloud too much, too. Why does everyone read your thoughts in this game? Why? That is bugging me. Cold, both players played with hats on. The victim, he plays the whole time with his hand on locket. His locket. I believe it was good luck charm, He gripped it many times as he played that night.
Yes, he must have felt as though it might carry him to the moon and the stars. Though if it were small enough to fit around his neck, it wouldn't have much left.
The defense would like a clarification. This is a locket we're talking about? I mean, a pendant with a picture in it, right? Not a rocket?
Of course, I knew that. It was probably a pendant shaped like a rocket. That's why she called it that.
No, a locket's a locket. It doesn't matter what shape it... It's considered bad form to poke fun at the hard of hearing in our society. Hard of hearing or hard of understanding? Yeah, this guy... you're a judge, dude! Then, last is done. Something terrible happened. Last hand is done. Deal cards for game. So you dealt the cards. You were dealing cards. Do you do this often? Duh, I am doing this. If customer wishes it, I serve anything. Borscht, cards, more borscht. It is my work. God, you're cute.
It is good to hear of a place that hasn't forgotten to mean the service.
Selling is service, and service is selling. Welcome you to Borscht Bowl Club, where borscht is as warm as the waitresses. Thank you for not handing out flyers during the cross-examination. I demand that the flyers be submitted as evidence. It's already April. How could it be cold? You think that the temperature cares about the seasons? At Borscht Bowl Club, we have pride on authentic Russian restaurant because outside it is sitting in spring, but inside it is always as cold as Mother Russia. No way am I going there. I mean, I like the cold. When it comes to hot borscht, cold is best seasoning, da. Cause, like, fucking, it is the middle of winter. It is the middle of winter. And every day, the sun is just out. No clouds. Sweltering. The whole, yeah, only pressed. Something terrible has happened, da. Something terrible?
The defense will refrain from the shouting.
Athene, I need to ask you to stop. That shouting is making people nervous. I won't do it again. Good. Glad we sorted that out. But watch out. I'ma do it again!
Now, Miss Orley, can you tell us what happened?
Well, it was so frightened. I trembled with fear. I pressed her on everything. He hit him with bottle. Okay. You didn't say anything about hitting before.
Sorry, I must be forgetting this,
Witness, you will take greater care with your testimony.
Oh, Dad, I'm sorry, Your Honor. And that clears up the discrepancy with the autopsy report, I believe. The defendant made to strangle his victim, then changed his mind, and chose a simpler, blunter means to do the job. Yes, that sums it up nicely.
So he strangled him, then hit him? Something's fishy about all this. Go ahead, I believe you know what it is you need to do.
Yeah, right, sir. Leave it to me.
There were only 3 people in the room at the time of the murder. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, I've got you now, Worley.
Rations.
Rations! Let's look at this picture. I don't see any strangle marks, yo. Hat removed during investigation. Single blow to the forehead. Hit him with the bottle. We're going with this. On the first. Oh, G's for options. Let me just save. Okay, let's see. Present. Nope. This evidence clearly reveals a contradiction in that statement. Load. I'm gonna use a controller, just like I am due for other game. There we go. There we go. Something terrible happened, Have to defend it. See, this is more like... No, wait. Wait. That's weird. I thought the dark cloak was the one when you selected it, but... nope. Hit him with bottle. Okay, present. Basement. Let's look at this. Hit him with the bottle. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute, why would the hat... No, that's not right.
Try to strangle victim. Notify from the restaurant's first floor. Hey, wait a minute. It's to me to deal cards with game. Is it because they're not playing cards in this picture? Nope. Huh. What else we got, boy? Right. Leave it to me. Deal cards for game. Play it with the hats on. He plays whole time with his hand on locket. At his... Oh! He's not wearing a locket. Oh, wait, he is. Maybe it's the other one? Witness a statement. Blah, blah, blah. Load your... Come on, Hosuke, you can do this. Present. Oh, wait. Not wearing a locket. Yeah! Man, I'm good. You know, there was one curious part in the testimony, just like Mr. Gavin said. But what does it mean?
Mr. Justice, would you care to explain what it is you're thinking so intensely about?
Recall the testimony, Your Honor. The victim played with his hand on locket at his neck. I believe she said, "I hope you aren't about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar." No, but look at this photograph. Womp womp. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck? Well done, Justice. I'm impressed. I knew you'd be able to handle this. But what does it mean?
If we are to believe this witness's testimony as is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death.
Lockets don't just disappear, Your Honor. It is quite simple when you think about it. If the locket is gone, someone must have taken it off, no? Taken it off? Wait, you don't mean the defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all. He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it?
Huh. Defendant, what do you have to say to this? Say.
Yes?
I just noticed this, but you have something hanging around your neck, don't you?
Oh? You mean this? Yes, it's a locket. With a photograph inside. A photo of my daughter.
Come again? Mr. Wright, you have a daughter?
We confirmed it at the time of the arrest. The picture of the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter.
So Mr. Wright has a locket too. Why don't I buy that this is just a coincidence?
Well now, if the results of this poker game led to the murder, perhaps we should hear a bit more about the outcome of the game.
Further testimony won't really be necessary. It's clear that the defendant lost. Badly.
Miss Ori, you testified to the court about the game played between the victim and the defendant.
Like, I don't see what's gonna... unless she, like, has a breakdown where she, like, gets really angry and, like, starts and, like, fucking gets, demonized. And then calls... And then he calls Apollo Justice, bottom or something. The game begins with 3,500 point-in chips for each man. House chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who is winning, it was victim. For last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabs bottle from table and...
Indeed. Looking at this picture, it does seem to be a one-sided game.
As the court knows, poker was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow.
How many times have I heard these words? I done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor, and now I regret what I done. A common tale, but true.
Methinks the judge watches too many old court movies. I think that's called first-degree murder when it's not premeditated. Or was it third-degree murder? Either first-degree or third-degree. I am not good at remembering that shit. I'm too busy remembering all of the SCP numbers. As he hasn't lost in 7 years, so this testimony must be wrong. And, Doctor Who shit. Doctor Who farted. The game begins with press. Are those the usual starting points? Or any special rules used? No, not special. Usual game, usual rules.
If each man began with 3,500 points, then the total would be... exactly 7,000 points.
Good job, Your Honor. Please, this is calculus. It's not even law and division. Well, maybe you'll understand this very long division between us and you. I fucking hated that episode of iCarly. The one where Freddy gets canceled because he said that he didn't think Fred was funny because, listen, the premise, like, okay, so they got... iCarly gets fucking boycotted because Freddy says, I don't think Fred is funny. And it was started because of Fred. Because Fred said, Freddy hurt my feelings. They got fucking... people stop watching. But then at the end it's all like, I was just... Fred, the actual Fred, Lucas Cruikshank, he was all like, I was just kidding. I like iCarly. He did it for publicity. You ruined his life, dude. He got kicked out of every fucking after-school club. The mathletes, archery. Those are the only ones I remember. He got attacked by someone because of your dumbass publicity stunt. Cancel culture strikes again. You millennial leftists who never lived one day under nuclear threat can now reflect upon your woke sky. You've made quite a non-binary fuss to save the world from intercontinental ballistic twits. Something's fishy with these chips. Fish and chips. Maybe you could explain a bit about these chips. Explain? What is there to be explained? Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fish and chips, not a chip off the old block, not a motorcycle cop, not a... Please shut the fuck up, Payne, I swear to God. Now that I've pressed her, I better ask something. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars? Or rubles, even? Yet, as I have been saying before, it was game, not gambling. Hard perhaps for capitalists to understand. Oh! So the Soviet Union still exists in this universe? 2 types of chip. 100-point chip and 1,000-point chip. It is not money, da. Justice. Sir! Don't you find our comment interesting? In more ways than one, sir. I'd have it added to her testimony myself.
Well, does the defendant want the witness to add that to her testimony?
Yes. I do think this deserves further scrutiny. Add to the testimony. I wish I knew where I was going with this. I'm gonna have to do math, aren't I?
Witness would be so kind.
Your Honor. One kind of chip is worth 10 with choice. 2 kinds in all. Okay, let's look at the, So we got, 100 and 1,000. So 1,000, 1,000 and 400. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9,000 and 200 plus 1,000. That is too many chips! You're sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure? It seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won. If you're not in kindergarten, what's your major?
Just for safety's sake, can you explain the problem to the court?
Of course, Your Honor. In this photo, I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points? Why, the big ones, of course. Duh! What's your major?
Oh, I thought so too. But then the totals don't add up.
The totals?
Let's review what the witness told us. Each man started with 3,500 points in chips. And the combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points.
Yes, if my calculations are correct. Let's see, 3 plus 1, carry the 5.
They are, Your Honor. Now, look at this photo that allegedly shows all the chips. If the big chips are worth 1,000 points and the small chips are worth 10,000, fuck, I fucked it up. And you add them up.
How much is it?
Do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? Dumb fuck. 10,600 points. The chips don't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness's testimony.
But why? How could this be?
Exactly. Justice. Now that you know the what, you must determine the why. Right. There's only one possible way to explain this contradiction. The starting points was wrong, the chip count was wrong. I think, I think it was a fucking... Starting points were wrong. The chip count was wrong. I think both were right. I think each man began the game with 3,500 points. If all the chips are indeed shown in this photograph, then there can be only one answer. The man cheated.
Well, what is it?
The value of the chips was the other way around.
What?
Want to know what I think? The small chips were worth 1,000 points, not the big ones. Oh!
Madness! Utter madness!
Show me that photograph of the chips. There are 6 small chips and 10 large chips.
Oh!
Why, that does make 7,000 points when you add them up.
Oh! Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out by yourself. That would mean that Phoenix won! Well, I'm just glad I was the only one. I was the one who said
it. But wait! The value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing.
Indeed. The victim did have the larger number of chips still.
Did he? Did I? Exactly. If the small chips are 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. Add up the points for each side of the table.
The victim, Mr. Smith, had 2,900 points and the defendant had 4,100 points.
Well now, it seems that Mr. Wright was winning that night after all.
That's impossible!
My client had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning.
Yeah!
Now, Miss Orley, you must have known the true value of the chips, since you were there at the scene of the crime. Weren't you? Come on, she doesn't look like she could hurt a fly.
Order! Order! It appears our defendant has lost his motive. And Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened.
Is he just nut?
We must now ask ourselves whether we can trust the...
Hold it!
Excuse me? What is it, Miss Orley?
I did not want to be saying this, but actually, you see, see what, Miss Orley? What do we see?
In the last hand, there was cheat.
A cheat? You don't mean a trick?
Wait, what do you mean? A scam?
They're all the same thing.
Yes.
There was cheat in last hand. That is why game ends with chips as they are. Great, just great. First we have lying, now cheating. Well, this case certainly has taken a turn. For the interesting.
Witness, you will please testify to the court. Tell us about this cheating in the final hand.
Witness! The last hand, both men had full house. Everywhere you look, I hit a home run to ya. There is 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. Ace, attorney. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious.
The next moment, game becomes argument. The defendant's trick was exposed. He took bottle in his hand. Poor Mr. Smith. Let's see those cards. Let's see. Hearts, hearts, hearts. Aces, aces. I mean, it looks fine to me. Oh! What's that in the distance? It's another spade. Blanca spades. Doesn't look like an ace, though. The ace of spades, they're the special. Hearts, heart. I have no way of... I'll just have to press on everything. Again. Miss Orley, why did you not tell the court about this from the very beginning? I thought I smelled a cover up here. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers.
A full house is a very high-scored hand. Not easy to make in my experience.
That alone is enough to suspect less than scrupulous tactics. Mr. Gavin, what's a full house? Lawyers these days, you don't know your poker. Gambling's illegal, so no.
I can't say this bodes well for your case or career.
What is this, some kind of secret court pokering? Justice. You know the terms one pair, two pair, and three of a kind, yes? Yeah, no problem. 2 cards with the same number makes a pair, and 3 makes a three of a kind. Good. Now picture a hand with 1 pair and 1 three of a kind. That is a full house. That doesn't sound very easy to make, does it? You can see each player's hand in this photo. Wow, they both have full houses. We forget there's an easy way to make a full house and go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat. Oh.
The defense may cross-examine the witnesses.
And the house always wins. So, if you did cheat in the last hand, that still leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand. Who's ever heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat? Cross-examination. Zippity-zappity fuckity-doo. The last hand, both men had full house. Just how hard is it to make a full house, anyway? It is quite hard, It is making a pair and a three of kind at the same time. I guess that's right.
Very difficult, to be sure. You can take my word as the pokerhead of courtroom number 3.
Nobody fucking calls you that. Very difficult, but it's not impossible. Okay, full house, hard. This line of questioning, a waste of time. No, negative results will show there is 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. 4 of each card, you say. Yeah, those are suits. There is 1 spade, 1 diamond, 1 heart, and 1 club for each card. It is interesting, in fact, that this number 4 comes from number of seasons. Oh, you don't say.
Did you know that the cards are numbered 1 to 13? Add all the cards in deck, you'd get 364 a year.
Yeah, you don't. No, Your Honor. No. There are 52 cards in a deck. That's why each deck has 2 jokers. They say the second joker stands for the leap year. Thus, you have a perfect representation of the year. I'll need a deck of cards. Wait. Oh! 52 weeks! Oh, that's pretty cool. 525,600 minutes. We're gonna be in this courtroom for a year if it keeps going like this. 525,000 moments, oh dear. If you look at both hands, cheat is more obvious. Elaborate on that. How was it clear? Well, the defendant, he played a 5th ace. Did he? A 5th ace? Hey, they don't call him the ace attorney for nothing. I still remember both hands very well. Actually, they call him that because he's asexual. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces. And Mr. Light's 2. Obviously, cheating was afoot. Or perhaps I should say, a hand. God, I hate you. Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony without Mr. Payne's joke.
Very well, the witness will add this detail to her testimony. Please.
3 aces, Mr. Wright's 2.
5 aces in all. Let's look at the court record. Okay, let's see. Ace of spades, ace of diamonds. No, I only see 2 aces. I only see 4 aces. It appears the witness is mistaken.
Mistaken? But my name...
Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony.
That's the photo of the chips, is it not?
Justice, perhaps you ought to explain your point in a way that the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point out your point.
Yes, please point out the contradiction in this photo.
Okay.
What particular point contradicts the witness's testimony?
Look at this. You said... Oh. Why, it's here, of course.
It's where?
Where is that you're pointing? Where, Good question. What? But what particular point contradicts the witness's test? The cards! It's the fucking aces! God damn it! Okay, let's try the aces over here. Aces! Why does it matter which ace you point to? Fucking... In your testimony, you made the following claim. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces. Oh, it was Mr. Smith. But as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces. Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Boy, this is courtroom. That excuse don't fly here. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question. Nuh-uh. Take another look at the evidence.
Fuck you mean, nuh-uh?
As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in hand. Where's this 5th ace? I see cheating all right, and it's going on right here in this courtroom.
2 aces in each player's hand does make 4 aces total. Hardly proof of cheating.
Wait, please. It is true. I have seen it. The 5th ace. That was cheating, I swear to you.
That's odd. She must be lying that she's the most sincere I've seen her all day. She's not lying, she was just wrong. You're right to trust your instincts. Mr. Gavin, who knows what lies in store for us in the trial ahead? There is foul play, and, I think Miss Olga is the fall girl. Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion.
What might that be, Mr. Gavin?
If you don't mind, perhaps you might examine the actual cards.
The cards?
Mr. Payne?
Yes?
The players' hands that night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court.
Very well, the prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine? The victim's cards or the defendant's cards?
If these cards don't prove cheating was going on, nothing will. Which of these hands is more suspicious? Let's look at the courtroom one more time. Okay, so the defendant got king, king, king. Diamond, diamond, club. Let's look at the victims. Let's look at the defendants. Let's look at the victim's hands. Victim's hand that changed over the course of the witness's testimony. Ah, that's right. The defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's cards.
Very well. Mr. Payne, if you would.
Very well. Receive evidence. Victim's hand. Well, time's a-wasting. Get to it, Justice. Yes, sir. Examine. When examining evidence, blah, 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 blah. Ah! Haha! Blue. What? Haha. Your Honor, look at this. Now look at this. One of the victim's cards. The back is a different color. Yes, that's impossible. But I put that card in Wright's hand. Oh! What was that, Miss Sorley?
No, yet, I merely said, I have...
Your Honor.
Mr. Gavin, yes?
Tell me, what is the easiest way to cheat at poker?
To cheat?
I'll tell you. One merely needs a friend, a comrade, shall we say. Ah! The dealer! Oh! Wait, so you mean... His witness, Miss Orley, she's the cheater. A professional, I'd wager.
Order! Order!
Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her... Bro! I mean of her mistake. Your Honor. Good thing you didn't say that out loud. Please recall the testimony we just heard. That's impossible, but I put that card in Wright's hand. Slip Freudian slip, Bo. Ergo, Miss Olga Orley inspired to cheat, not with my client, but with the victim, Mr. Shady Smith. Not only did she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim.
What? Wait, you don't mean the defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga Orley, are you?
Time for justice. Were there 3 people in the room? There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident. And if Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means I am. The defense accuses the witness, Miss Olga Orley, of murder. Crap.
Mr. Payne, where's your witness, Miss Olga Orley?
It appears she has lost consciousness, Your Honor.
Mr. Justice,
Your Honor.
it seems you presented a new possibility to the court. One suggestion of connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith.
And that means?
This court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time.
Yeah, what?
I did it. I held out.
I see no point in prolonging the trial this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries.
Damn, he still got it. Mr. Wright? You can't end the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet.
What nonsense is the defendant spewing now?
Think. One of the cards is a different colored back. Don't you wonder what it means?
What are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising objections right when you're about to get off the hook? Ridiculous!
Mr. Payne, you of all people should know. Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous. Perhaps we should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the game that fateful night.
As was said before, we alternated between 2 decks of cards that night.
That was said before.
The 2 decks at the club have different colored backs, blue and red. 1 color per deck. Why use different colored backs? If we used the same color, the 2 decks might get mixed. You used different colors and they still got mixed up. We used the red deck for the last game.
I see. That's odd. For some reason, I have this impression that you were using the blue cards.
Yeah, me too. I'm sure someone said something about blue cards.
Whatever. In the end, 1 card of the wrong color got into the mix, which means there was cheating.
Yes, a card slipped into the deck, which seemed to indicate cheating. Yet, this card raises 2 serious questions. Apollo? Yes? Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think. In the last game, when was the card swapped? There were 3 broad possibilities here. My mind is drawing a blank. It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder.
Well, yeah, thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright. Of course it was swapped.
Oh, it might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne, or it might not be.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. When do you think the cards were swapped? When was the card swapped at the deck? What does the evidence say? It's reason to believe. Oh, blue cards. Oh, but the deck there, it's blue. That here, there's only 1 blue deck. So that would seem to imply... hard to make out, but I do see 2 aces. And the aces here... It's a king. The photo is black and white, so there's no way of telling the color. I assume that's intentional, so let me think. It had to have been before the murder, right? Must have happened before the murder.
You mean during the game?
I wonder. Huh? Why? Think. When you're playing poker, which side of the cards face your opponent? Ah! The back!
Not something the poker courtroom number 3 would be like.
Sorry, let me think about this some more. When was the card swapped into the deck? Well, it had to be... Ed! What's that? Ridiculous! What's the point of cheating after the hands have been shown? That's silly. To forge a motive? Yes, but tell me, how do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible. Take it from me, son. There's a lot of silly in this world, but very little impossible. Huh? Even when the backs of the cards are a different color? If you pulled that during the game, you'd be caught in no time. Quite true. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown, after the murder. Okay, this is going past something straight on to crazy. I'll ask again. What's the point of cheating after the game's over? Who would do that? Who indeed? That's one of the mysteries before us.
There's another.
Yes, a simple yet decisive question must be asked. Who swapped the red card for a blue card? Who? The game and murder is done. The victim is dead. Only 2 remain in the room. Alive, that is. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and our witness, Olga Orley. It had to have been Olga, because Phoenix left to call the police. Why, it must have been Olga Orley who swapped the cards. She was trying to cover up evidence of the cheating.
It does make some sense.
Sorry, but there's a problem with that explanation. Huh? The swap card is from the wrong deck.
Yes, a blue card was stuck into a red hand.
Mixing a card from the wrong deck when the backs are different colors. Remember that you're talking about Olga Orley. She was the dealer. Do you really think she would make such a novice mistake? Actually, I have enough trouble imagining even the judge making that mistake. Give it a little more thought, Apollo. Right! Okay, who was it that swapped the red card for blue? Well, it had to have been Phoenix. Only 2 people in the room. Had to have been Phoenix. The one who swapped the cards was... Mr. Wright, it was you, wasn't it? And why would I do such a thing? Well, because, maybe you were trying to hide the fact you cheated?
That would make sense, but the swapped card was in the victim's hand.
Oh. I'm embarrassing myself! I'm a nice guy, but I'm not that nice. Come to think of it, he would lack a motive for helping his opponent to win. Okay. A third guy. The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Wright, of course. And, well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga Orley either.
What are you suggesting?
That's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As a defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Miss Orley at this point. Yes, I know, but she... Throat's getting sore. She was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make the mistake of swapping the wrong colored card.
And if the card was swapped during the game, it'd be obvious. Something you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright?
Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I was just thinking how much fun all this is. What are you, the Joker? Fun? How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the card wasn't the defendant, and it wasn't Miss Orley, then who was it? Yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it? Precisely. Huh? I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction.
A new direction?
We'll find that indeed, after the murder, someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand. And that someone made 2 critical mistakes. I'm sure you're going to tell us that the first was swapping the wrong colored card, because the one who did the swap didn't know 2 colors of cards were being used. The other mistake was the number on the card. Right. The person replaced the 5th ace with a king. I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a 5th ace after all. 5th ace after all. All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house. So they picked up a king from at the table and swapped it in.
But there's one problem. According to our case record, this person doesn't exist.
True, not until now. But you have to admit the possibility of a 4th person. That was more than a possibility. There was someone else that night at the scene of the crime.
What?
I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright.
This trial is proceeded on one central assumption, namely that at the time of the incident, there were only 3 people in that room. I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption. The problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court.
Well, he did refuse to testify. I suppose that is a problem, yes.
Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess.
Certainly, Your Honor.
Very well. The trial will resume in 20 minutes.
To be continued. Nope. No, we're still going. Still going. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. To suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth? Well now, I'd think you would know if the answer to that. Being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I have no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defendant to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. I see you haven't mellowed out one bit, Kristoff. Justice. Yes, sir. The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. I can handle it. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? You're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket. Here, you can take a look at it. That's a picture of my daughter in there.
Aww.
I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days. Foreshadowing! One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago. What I did. It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat. I never, honest, but it is odd that you managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker.
Eh?
You see, poker's all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's a lot like a court case. Poker is like trial law. Figure out what your opponent is thinking, and you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can become a valuable source of information. You're kidding! That witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? No. Come on, who'd notice that? Words, habits, twitches. It's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me, and now I pass the secret on to you. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'm picking up on these signals. No, you can do it. Huh? You just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will, soon. Almost forgot. One more thing, about this case. You should know, I haven't told the truth to anyone yet.
What?
I knew it. I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there, defending. I need your power. My, power? I had no idea my cords of steel were that special. It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best. To be continued! Okay. I'm gonna get some food, and we will play this, more of this, next time.